What is this My Favorite CPA? So I can only imagine some of you out there might have wondered, you might have come across my channel. Maybe you thought to yourself, what is this My Favorite CPA? Is this some kind of ego trip or something? No, it's not. So as a veteran business CPA, I have done this for nearly 30 years. And back in my years with the big firm, I got the reputation for being approachable. Somebody you could talk to, not your typical CPA. And I specifically have a client back in those days that came to me and said, for these reasons, you are my favorite CPA. And following that became kind of my nickname, My Favorite CPA. Now, I have designed my site and my media with the intent that maybe someday we'll add some other people that are also your favorite CPA. But for now, I'm perfectly happy serving as your favorite CPA today. By the way, if it's important to you, I did go to high school, I did go to college and obtain a bachelor's degree in accounting. I studied business. I took a number of business required classes, including business law. Then after I graduated college, I worked in public accounting my whole career. That means working with people just like you. Business owners, entrepreneurs, self-employed, people with side gigs, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, investors, all of you. That's what I specialize in. It's all I know. So let me tell you a little bit about why I created my training course. My training course was concepted, it was nearly 25 years ago. So many times I saw business owners that transition from employee land to self-employment land, thinking, now I can finally be my own boss. Well, nothing could be further from the truth, because you go from having one boss as an employee to having, the the bank is your boss if you borrow money. If you hire employees, the employees are your boss. The customer is always your boss. The government is your boss, both the federal government and the state government and the local government. And then you may have accounting rules that are your boss. You have maybe your accountant that is your boss. And not to mention your family members and your influencers. All of a sudden, you go from having one boss to having 100 bosses. I also saw at the same time self-employed people, business owners, entrepreneurs making this transition and struggling with the fact that I used to get a tax refund every year, but now when I went self-employed, the more I make, the more they take. And that's one of the reasons why I created my training course. It's to help business owners, entrepreneurs, self-employed people, and so on know that we have a voluntary tax system in the United States. Have you ever heard that before? A voluntary tax system. Sometimes people take that to mean that it's voluntary whether you file or not. No. All Americans and everyone working in America must file a tax return. But what's voluntary is how you structure yourself. What's voluntary is what deductions you have. And so what you really should take away from this is you can voluntarily pay high taxes or you can voluntarily pay low taxes. It is entirely up to you. And in my training course, what I do is I teach people, think of business like a deck of cards. With a deck of cards, if you were a card player, if I were to set a deck of cards down here around the table, you might ask a question. The question would be something along the lines of, what game are we playing? Because with a deck of cards, we could play euchre, we could play Go Fish, we could play poker, we could play Old Maid, whatever it is that you would play. What game are we playing? Second of all, give me a primer on what the rules of the game are. How do I win at this game? This is the left bower, this is the right bower. This is how you win, you have to get so many of these, and so on. It significantly increases your chances of being successful. And likewise, my training course, Viewing Business as a Deck of Cards and the different games you can play, let's educate you on the different games that there are, and there's probably at least 4 to 5 games that you can play. And then let's do a brush up on the rules. What are the upsides? What are the downsides? What are the benefits? What are the hooks? And beyond that, what do you need to do to pull it off? Dot all your I's, cross all your T's, and specifically, how do you optimize the game that you're playing for your benefit, for your situation? So I created this course roughly 25 years ago. I used to give it in person, but as time went on and, I got a little bit older, and also don't forget COVID, I decided maybe I should put my course in the cloud. Because who wants to take half a day to a day off of work to, educate yourself? I mean, some people do. I started to realize with the advent of Netflix and other technologies that sometimes people just want to sit down and watch something convenient, maybe watch a little bit every day, and in a matter of a week, get the knowledge in their head so they can position themselves where they want to be. Or you could sit down and watch my course cover to cover, front to back, just binge watch it like your favorite Netflix series. It's really up to you, but I put this course together in my own language, the language of not your typical accountant, but with a heavy accounting and tax background, not just some finance bro. I package this all in a way that is easy to digest, and it has a lot of real world examples and exercises for you to think about, with the objective being, here again, how do we position yourself so you can win this game? So now, if you are in business or self-employed or an investor or a solopreneur or whatever it is, if you're doing your own thing and creating your own income, you might think about, could I just do my taxes yourself? And maybe you could do your own taxes. My training course is really focused on giving you the strategy. A lot of accountants might be able to do your taxes if you have a strategy, but if you have no strategy, you can just end up a major mess. I've seen it a bazillion times. People that, I don't know if they're trying to be cheap or if they're just afraid to ask for help, but getting that strategy can make all the difference between being really happy and successful or struggling and being on the struggle bus. Now let's talk about my social media for a second. I am on a lot of the major social media, ranging from YouTube to TikTok to Facebook to Instagram. And on some of the short form channels there, what you're gonna find is I output a lot of news and information that you can use in the business world and the tax world. I'm constantly talking about this new tax law that's coming out, or sometimes I talk about, these kooky proposed tax laws that are being proposed, but mainly I deal in laws when they actually become the laws. Why am I bringing this to you? Because you're my friends, you're my fans, you're my followers. Tax laws can affect you, and I think it's important that you know about it, because nothing is worse than going to file your taxes and finding out, what you should have done last year. And on that note, I did found and I do operate my own CPA firm. My channel doesn't really have anything to do with my CPA firm, but my CPA firm, we handpick who we're going to work with, and we help them, once they narrow down which game they're going to play in business, we help them execute, dot their I's and cross their T's, so that you can pull the strategy off successfully with a whole lot less headaches. If I'm not saying that you have to take my course and use my CPA firm, you don't. There's a lot of options out there. There are good people all across the country. I have peers in my National Accounting Firm Association around the country. So if you're looking for somebody, I might be able to give you a name. But the thing I want you to know is, if you are going to pull off some of these more sophisticated strategies, it's kind of dumb, to be honest, to go the do-it-yourself route. Unless you're already an accountant. Get the strategy, get somebody that will help you execute it, and when you execute it as flawlessly as you can.